Mike Magic 71 says, what's better, Toyota Corolla or Camry? What's the big difference? Well, the big difference is the price and the ride and the acceleration. If you got the money, go ahead and get a Camry, you know. They ride nicer. They got more power. Used to be, there was a real big difference that the Corolla is kind of ugly looking. The Camrys are a lot better, but they've really improved the looks of the Corolla. What kind of gas mileage do you want to get? What kind of power do you want? What kind of ride do you want? What I would advise you to do would be go to a dealer and road test them both and see which one you like. The Camrys do ride quite a bit better, but the Corolla is a lot better than they used to. My son last year bought a new Corolla S. He loves the way it rides. He loves the gas mileage. He's getting higher than even the rating ones, and he likes how it handles. So there's nothing wrong with it. Road test them, though, and see what fits what you like best. Mr. Exclusive says, Scotty, do you have an overall opinion on the newer Volvo SUVs like the XC60 or XC90? Have a good day. Understand that the Chinese now own Volvo. They're only going to be making electric cars or hybrid electric cars. Who knows what the future will bring? Maybe that isn't true and they won't. People are always changing their minds. But they're decent vehicles to drive when they're new. When they age, these things cost a small fortune to fix. I used to work on Volvos in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They were indestructible Swedish tanks. They would run forever. But as time went on, you know, the company's been bought and sold so many times. I mean, Ford owned them for a while. They just keep coming and going, and now the Chinese own them. I personally wouldn't shell out the kind of money that they want for something like that. Now, if you get a good deal on a used one that's got low mileage, 50, 60,000 miles, it could be okay. But don't pay much for vehicles that they're not going to be making anymore. Boom Sugar says, Scotty, thanks for your help. My 2013 RAV4 with 107,000 kilometers makes rumbling, rattling sound when I put the car in drive and have my foot on the brake. Thanks. Helps from Niagara Falls, Ontario. You put a car in drive and it rumbles, but you put it in neutral and it doesn't. The vehicle isn't running perfectly, and you put it in drive, it strains a little bit. You might check for vacuum leaks, tune it up, change the spark plugs, change the air filter. They'll often do that. The other thing is, motor or transmission mounts, if they're worn, when you put it in drive, they start to rattle around. Could be that that's cracked, you can see it, and they just bolt on and off. You can change them in 5 minutes. But those are the main things that do it. Packet Punch 8 says, Scotty, I need a basic work truck for moving stuff around. Used Tacomas cost too much. Yeah, they're good, but they cost a lot. I found an 09 Nissan Frontier, 76,000 miles, 4-cylinder manual transmission for $8,000. Should I get it? Yeah, they can be decent, but $8,000 is highway robbery too for that. It's an 11-year-old Nissan. They don't hold their resale value that way. They pay less money. The automatics are the weak part, and the Frontiers are the best vehicle, really, that Nissan makes these days, as far as I'm concerned. They are decent little pickup trucks, but $8,000, too much for an 11-year-old Nissan. They're going to have a hard time selling it for that money. Now, I don't know where you are. Let's say you're in Canada. They go more there. Let's say you're in California. They go more there. Here in Texas, it would go for probably half that. Wimmy says, what's up with a 12-cylinder motor in a car? VW, Mercedes. A long time ago, they kept adding more cylinders. That was just how they did things. Ford made it 4, then they made it 8, and then eventually people made 10s and 12s. Not really necessary these days. You can get 365 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder engine. They don't need to make these big, massive things. But of course, Volkswagen, Mercedes, Europeans, they're into high-tech. They can make tech, they will. It costs so much more money to make them. They just weigh more. It's not a logical thing to do, but they're luxury cars. People will pay anything for luxury cars, brag they got a V12 engine. They do break down more, and yes, they cost a fortune to repair when they do break down. Rolls-Royces have them too, but I mean, understand Rolls-Royce. They're using BMW V12s, and BMW owns the company now, so there really is no Rolls-Royce English company anymore. Paul Margansky says, thoughts on the Toyota 86. Toyota 86 is not really a Toyota. It's a Subaru. They're made by Subaru in a Subaru factory. If you don't mind Subarus and their 4-cylinder boxer engines, and you like standard transmissions, if you like it, it's a decent vehicle. Now, their automatic transmissions? No. I got a customer that got one. I was totally disappointed when I was changing the oil and road testing it. Totally disappointed. It was so slow, I didn't like it at all. With the standard, they are kind of fun. But just realize, it's not a Toyota, it's a Subaru. You're really buying a Subaru. Just like if you're buying a Toyota Supra, it's not a Toyota. It's a BMW Roadster. BMW makes them. Push R2 says, I'm a cheap 2010 Camry owner. Looking at 07 to 11 Lexus GS 300 350 down. Is the maintenance and parts expensive? Lower mileage, they're not that expensive to maintain. But as they age, are super expensive. An example, I had a customer with one, the brake master cylinder went out. But it had this fancy Lexus brake master cylinder setup where you had to buy this whole assembly. The assembly was $1,300. An equivalent Camry, I could get a master cylinder for maybe $150. Realize that if you're cheap, I would not buy one. Foxboy says, why do Jaguars depreciate so much? Well, because they're not that well made. They break down. They cost a fortune to repair. Now, understand, it's Jaguar Land Rover. It's one company. And it's at least 50% owned by the Chinese. The Chinese themselves, people who had bought the Jaguars, went to the Chinese headquarters of Jaguar Land Rover and were protesting about the poor quality of the cars that they had bought. These are Chinese people protesting in China about the low quality of Jaguars. That says something, you know? The resale value is so horrendous because they're not very well-built vehicles. They were great, solid, fast cars. Back in the 1930s and stuff, they were state-of-the-art, but it's been a long way since anything British was state-of-the-art when it came to the automotive industry. Goldinko says, Scotty, do you think the station wagon estate car will ever make a comeback in the U.S.? I have a 2018 BMW 5 Series, and in the UK they're popular. We used to be full of them. When I was a kid, everyone had a station wagon. We had a Ford Fairlane station wagon. Everybody had station wagons for the family. But here in the United States, SUVs. Now, yes, they're a little bit smaller space-wise, but that's what they've turned into. And everybody wants SUVs here in the United States. I don't think they'll ever come back in the United States. It'll always be kind of a short-term thing. You know, I don't think it'll ever be. Buick had one, and they don't make them anymore. But it wasn't even made here. It was made in Germany and then shipped over here, but they're not doing it anymore. So I doubt it. I kind of doubt it. Fatal Cactus says, Scotty, I asked you about a 2019 Toyota Highlander. What is your opinion you get about the base model 2.7 4-cylinder with a 6-speed, with a 3.5 V6 with an 8-speed? You know, I'd go for the 2.7 4-cylinder with the 6-speed. Those 6-speed transmissions have been around for a really, really, really long time, and they are pretty much indestructible transmission. The 8-speed, they had some problems with, not major, they didn't shift right, they had to reprogram them, but I believe in that 6-speed. If you're the type of person that's going to tow things, you'd have to go for the V6 engine if you're towing a lot of weight and stuff. You can tow little campers and stuff with the 4, but if you really are going to tow stuff, you'd have to go for the V6. Karen Muradov says, can dealerships remap my ECU on my Mazda? Of course, it depends on the year. Some of them you cannot reprogram. You have to buy new ones, but those are really old ones. Of course, the dealers can reprogram computers. If you're talking about actual remapping with different data like the race car drivers do for races, they'll never do that for you because they only put in the factory software and the factory software upgrades. They are not going to change it because there's liability issues, warranty issues, anti-pollution issues. If you really want to remap it and make it go faster, you're going to have to find a guy who is a pro mechanic, 5 gas analyzers, and knows how to remap computers to make them run at whatever you want. You can set it up to run faster in the street or faster at high end. Dealer would never do that because there's too many liabilities for them. O-Dog says, how do you fix sagging doors on an 06 Tahoe? Trade it in for a Toyota. That means that your hinges are wearing out. That's how bad GM makes vehicles these days. The hinges wear out and start sagging. They used to last forever, but not anymore. The weight of the door just eventually makes the hinges sag. You got to replace the hinges. Now, you don't have to go to GM and buy their expensive stuff. There are companies like Dorman, D-O-R-M-A-N, to make excellent aftermarket parts, and you could get a set of Dorman ones. Now, if you're going to replace them, they just bolt on and off. Somebody's got to hold the door up when you unbolt it, and somebody else has to hold the door up when you bolt it back on. You cannot do it one hand holding, one hand bolting. I tried that once and gave up. Now I've got fancy jacks and straps, mats I can stick them in so I don't ding the paint, and I can do it one man with a jack on my equipment, but get some friends to do it. Noel Ebert says, is that a Toyota bookshelf? Scotty, someone's going to die sitting under that couch. Okay, I'll move the camera and you'll see what he's talking about. See those books there? Those books aren't holding the bookshelf up. My wife put them there because people give me books. What's actually holding them up is a bunch of steel reinforced hangers that are bolted into the studs of a house. It's not going to fall down. It just kind of looks like it is over there. I used to have 10 times as many books, but my wife keeps giving them away. She says, you got all these books, give them away. What are you doing with them? And she's kind of right. Once you read a book, you don't really need to hoard it. Give it to somebody else. Hardly anybody reads anymore anyways. They watch videos, DVDs and stuff. Nobody watches them. Everything's streaming. So just like me here, just stream it. You don't need books anymore. Noel Ebert says, where are you from? Planet Earth. I was born in Niagara Falls. Lived there till I was 18, went to college, went to school in Toronto, then went to school at the University of Illinois. But I always worked as a mechanic at my father's gas station in the summers because, hey, I like working with my hands. It was easy money. And my poor father, hey, he had to have somebody run the place when he was out either playing contract bridge, of which he was a master, or betting on the ponies in Fort Erie, Ontario, where the racetrack was. He was very good at gambling. And I'm not really a gambler myself. It's one of those skip a generation things. My son is, but I'm not. But I took my grandfather's skip a generation. I can fix things. My father couldn't, so it all evens out in the long run. I got married down in Houston, and I've been here for like 43 years now. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.